I come from more like the AI and big data industry background. I did my PhD in UC Berkeley, focused on machine learning and causal inference. Then after that, I was a founding member of an AI startup that's focused on automated machine learning platform. And then after that, I went to a Bay Area company called Databricks, which I think most people based on there will know. It's one of the largest data and AI infrastructure company right now to lead their product management for data engineering products. And after that, I co-founded Kite with my co-founder Scott, and building like what we call the base layer for the future of agentic internet. Yeah, so very good question. First of all, if you look into what we are building underlying, we're leveraging blockchain technology for building this, infrastructure, and we're building our own layer one. And that layer one has a consensus mechanism, which is what you mentioned, the proof of artificial intelligence, or in short, proof of AI. And why we are building proof of AI is one, we think the blockchain itself should be focusing on rewarding or distributing the rewards to the AI resource contributors more than just contribute or distribute the rewards to validators who provide staking and securities to the ecosystem, because after all, this is an AI focused or like an agent focused blockchain. So that's one. And on top of that, we think like the missing piece, a very critical missing gap right now for agent to really be able to use autonomously to, help me to book tickets, find a hotel and, do stuff, is how do you have this chain of trust in the process of agent do stuff for you? Because essentially when you are giving ChatGPT instruction, ideally you want them to do everything now autonomously without you intervene them. But you still want to make sure that if something happened wrong, there's a trial that you can go back to see what's wrong. And also, ideally, you even have a preventive mechanism to say, oh, I want the agent to only spend money on the categories I want, or do stuff that I ask you to be in the scope. So that's part of the chain, the chain of trust is proof of AI is adding in the process, because essentially proof of AI allow us to track who did what at when with what outcome. So what does that mean is, for example, if this data set has contributed to this model performance improvement, or this MC contributor to this agent to be able to finish a custom focused or a domain specific task. So in that way, we have that entire chain of trust across each of the actions and transactions. And that is what I've heard tons of our Web2 AI friends are complaining about now. How can they really bring their AI agents to the real world without that solutions will be trouble. Very good question. So I think the developers, honestly, I think they love this concept. They think be able to, provide agent identity that's allow them to, authenticate and prove who they are, which allow them to now trust each other or trust give the trust or allow the services on the other side or the agent on the other side to trust your agents is so critical. And also the agents it's not going to be good for agent to use your own human credit cards to make payments, because that's one is expensive, honestly speaking. That's every time 3% charge, and it's not real time in some way. And also it's very easy to trigger those risk modeling algorithms that Chase or other companies are putting that then. So a lot of over 50% of their payments got canceled or declined. So with that, they're oh, if you are solving this problem, amazing. This is what we need. And then for end user side, I think they also love this concept because they felt oh, finally, are you telling me, oh, I don't need to leave ChatGPT or Perplexity or a Anthropic cloud to be able to have my agent to do all those grocery shopping and a flight hotel booking for me, which it's not still happening right now. But with what we are building, actually we already allow users to stay at ChatGPT to be able to shop for stores across Shopify, for example. First of all, if you think about the future of the internet is actually going to be operated mainly by the agents rather than human, then the agents pretty much require all the native infrastructure that's now the human-centric internet are operating with. And when you are human operating, like again, like make the payments, access account, create an account of a website on Uber, on like a Shopify, or those places, and then allow you to log into those things. Why you can do that? A lot of times is because you have your own identity, because you have your own identity that allow you to like open a bank account, open a credit card, and also like sometimes those, like a PayPal and Shopify, they all require you to do with your identity. So that's exactly we think like the agent required to have as well. So agent need their own like a native identity that allow them to one like prove and attest where they come from, like who they are, and whether they have like a bad intention or a good intention. And also with that is like the unique identifier, which actually this is a blockchain wallet-based solution. Then you can use that to authenticate the agent to do, like access a website, a service, and then make the payments. So that's why we think like identity and payments, they're bundled, they're well bundled together. They cannot do the thing end to end without each other. Yeah. The whole thesis of like what we are betting here is we think agents or like any machine actors deserve some more machine native money, which is actually stablecoin. So stablecoin, why it makes stablecoin so good and so special is it's very programmable. It's actually very flexible to add all type of like rules and like the governance on top of it, and it's very real time. And also it can do global settlements in like a real time, low cost, which is actually what we think the future of the AI is marching towards the same. Like will be actually very global, even though now there's a lot of like political like a conflict across some of the regions and countries. But imagine like when your agent will do like the like the shopping or like the honeymoon booking for you. You probably, if you are US citizen, you probably want to go to like another country to do your honeymoon. So the agents to do those like flight booking and hotel booking for you is actually cross-border. It's actually on the other side of the country, and let alone there's probably going to be another agent that's sitting like maybe like Japan, sitting like Korea, that's your agent which is sitting in US need to interact with. So with such a global network, how can you enable like this type of like money to do like a real-time close cross-border settlements with low cost stablecoin? So very, very good questions. I think not only us, actually a bunch of like we think like very legit companies are trying to attack these problems right now in the space. But I think there's a few things we need to do. One is just like we talked about how similar to human, agent need their own like identity, native identity, and native payment solution. They also need their own native like reputation system, and like even like a risk modeling, risk control system for that. So just like we have the credit card credit history that's Experian or like any credit bureau will be able to provide, agent should have that as well. So we think like the reputation system that built around the agent or even like the agentic services will allow us to one, have a better like understanding about, based on the past history of that agent transaction or payment, or they have a higher chance to do something bad or like a lower chance to do. And the second, on top of that, there's some like again, people think that there's going to be like very new and agent native risk detection models or fraudulent detection models that need to be built here. Because when it comes to human, right? We talked about credit card. Why the credit card will be easily, why we use agent to use credit card to make payments will easily trigger that fraud detection is because the agents are using like browser, for example, right now, and the browser based approach will makes the website to think like, oh, why there's some like quick, very machine-alike like movement around like the website. So that makes them feel like, oh, it's not a human operating, it's like a bot operating that. So that's easily trigger like a chase to say, no, this is a bad transaction, don't do that. So that's why this new native like risk model probably should be will be built by someone. We're not like doing that right now, but we have seen some of the company are doing that. And on top of that, there's another very interesting concept right now are coming out is called the agent insurance. People are actually now, like especially some Web2 companies, they're not even using Web3 solutions. They're pure Web2 based solutions, but they're building like those native insurance companies for agents if the agent do something wrong for the enterprise customer or like individuals. That's again like a very, very hot topic right now that everybody is trying to figure out, because again, like now with the speed of agents being able to perform stuff, people are like, oh, we need to figure out who is accountable in the end. So we think in the end, it's going to be probably a very like a hybrid approach on that. But one thing we want to make sure is not every time like a human take the fault. Because the agent probably is doing the hallucination because of the underlying foundation models capability. But on top of that, maybe the human indeed add some like bad intention to ask the agent to do something illegal. So how do you have like, that's why we call this proof of AI to enable this chain of trust. How do you have like the trace of each of the transactions and the context you add into the agent to ask the agent to do something is tracked and being able to audit it in the future if something goes wrong. That is where we consider like tons of work and tons of like try and error approach need to happen with this like accountability design of between agent and human. It's already happening. It's already happening. Some of the hackers will insert some of the very malicious contacts into a website that is actually guided by like a white color, so human eye cannot see it. But then when you script that website, they will be actually be put into the agent. Then what that malicious instruction is doing is actually ask the agent to pull out all those like credentials with your like a wallet or like the account, which can be very dangerous, and some people already got like hacked in that way. So I think that's will all need some collaborative work to design better system. So first of all, this is what we believe the beauty of a blockchain, or the beauty of a permissionless, like ecosystem, right? So as we are building our own layer one, we are definitely staying like very neutral and very like wanna this be a permissionless ecosystem that everybody can come in to build. But for particular, what we are like trying to facilitate here is for developers, for example, we're providing this suite of like SDKs and solutions to enable not only like a blockchain or like Web3 developers that are already familiar with blockchain technology, but also like Web2 AI developers to have some like API or like some formats that they're familiar with, so that they don't need to dive into like the blockchain like jargons and other things to be able to use our solutions to easily assign their agents identity and the native payment solutions with the governance, everything. So that's why we're building like this, we call like this 3-stack of like layer 1 blockchain and Kai AI platform, and like the app store marketplace on top as a full suite to enable like developers to build on top of us easily. And then the ecosystem that we want to curate is actually ultimately that top layer, which is like that marketplace or agentic app store that we are trying to empower a lot of like the agent on the one side and services or like a agentic service like data providers, model providers, or even like the physical goods merchants, sellers from PayPal, from Shopify. Those people are all integrated in this network that allow them to be collaborate with each other, and the agent can discover and pay for the services that they're offering. And on top of that, of course, you mentioned researchers. We actually have we call a proof of AI lab that's already have a few of the professors and PhDs that are periodically publishing some of their thought papers through that lab, and also like we're co-building some of the very interesting solutions together with them. And actually that's AI insurance thing that we talked about. We are also cooking some of that solutions with one of our partners. Yes, that's a very good question. First of all, I think when it comes to like the real products and like the product adoption use case, real world use case adoption versus like the Web3 or like a blockchain ecosystem building, it takes a little bit different approaches here. So for the real world, especially honestly, like we have a lot of Web2 partners such as like PayPal or like some others. For them, I think they in the very beginning they care more about what the concrete use case and the technology you can provide to them, which means you have to be very specific and like have a solution that's built on top of like let's say a layer 1 blockchain infrastructure to them, because a blockchain means nothing to them unless you can package it as a solution that solve their pain points and problems, right? So that's why Web2 people always care about product and like adoption of your product. So that is where we think that's why focus on very specific use cases with those people are essential. Like agentic shopping, agentic commerce is one of the, for example, use cases. But on the other side, when it comes to like the ecosystem, like the blockchain ecosystem that, or like the network ecosystem we're building, we tend to make it very permissionless right now. So that's why we have like recently we probably onboarded like almost like 50 partners in like 3 weeks. That's launched their agents or like some of the agentic services on this like a marketplace or like the agentic app store. That's they think they want to either make their services being discovered and used by other agents, or they want the end users that be able to directly access that services they provide through like ChatGPT or Perplexity in that way. So I think, yeah, there's a lot of work to do, but our goal here is to make blockchain solution or blockchain-based infrastructure and ecosystem really become a mainstream, like a technology and mainstream solution that's not only Web3 people recognize the value, but really like Web2 and AI people that can recognize the value, and so we can onboard more like the Web2 AI companies who are like relevant partners into this ecosystem and prove that blockchain is not just for speculation, for like even though token is important, but but we need more like the real world use case. So one is we treat there's 3 pieces of this token minimally used for. One is the utility side of using this token as a platform token, which essentially where like when the agents are like accessing and make a payment for services, like a partial, like a small portion of like the amount that the services are making from this network is actually being paid through like the Kite token, which is actually flow into like the treasury. In this case, that we can then distribute it back to, for example, like we call the proof of AI, like the rewards mechanisms, the consensus rewards mechanisms that we think we want to incentivize, where like rewards those high quality AI resource providers or contributors more in this case. And then on top of that, Kite token is very important for us to use for like a governance purpose for this ecosystem. And of course, when it comes to staking, Slash, and all the stuff. Yeah. So that's why, again, that's one of the beauties I think about blockchain and its ecosystem, because it's very collaborative and permissionless in some way. So first of all, I think again, the one of the things when it comes to, for example, like a monopoly that makes the particular blockchain-based solution for this agentic transaction, identity and payment solutions is so important is you don't want to single companies or like big companies to really like become like those gatekeeper to decide whether your agent is able to access that service or not, and being able to make payments to that service or not, because that is actually now the solutions Web2 companies are providing. For example, Cloudflare right now is providing, they're like doing a lot of like bot management controls for a lot of the websites that, for example, Uber, DoorDash, when you access their platforms, the reason you can get it through is because Cloudflare detects you as a human. You're not a malicious bot that are trying to attack them. But this is actually a problem now. Agents are trying to access those services because the agent doesn't, the service or like those website account, that they don't know how to detect whether this is a good actor or bad actor. So Cloudflare right now is actually providing something called like the white list of like a whitelist IP addresses. Or like that, but that means like if your agent's ID or like address is not part of that list, then you're fucked. You basically cannot access those like services, which is pretty bad. So that's why we think like this again, like this open and like collaborative and permissionless solutions. That's but also like provide the trust in the process as a blockchain provider is so critical to really allow us to not fall into the rabbit hole of like a monopoly or like a big companies that control our future of like agentic economy and agentic internet. That's one. And the second, the disruptive in general about agents to the AI industry is I think agents truly is going to be like the main interface that's agent, that's human or like interact with each other, with the other agents, with the internet in the future. So it's gonna I think a lot of companies right now are actually big companies are very, very scared of like losing this like a traffic touch point with a human in the future, because they will only then be like the second layer after the human tell like OpenAI or Anthropic or like a Perplexity about what they want to do, and then those people will direct those traffic to that like the website. So I think I don't know what's the future going to be look like in the future honestly, but we want to try our best to make sure there's no big monopoly happen in the process, and people can still own that right about what they want to access for. Yeah, it's first of all, love the vibe and energy of Korean community about the like the blockchain technology and the ecosystem. So I think the enthusiasm is amazing. It's actually the third time I've been in, so that's why I think I got a lot of experience and data points about how excited this whole community is. That's also why we like really treat Korean community as one of the like very important and top regions for us to develop the like a very strong tie and connections here. And what I think we want to actually then like do here besides the we have over like 20 events actually at KPW this week, so a lot, but actually we after that we're gonna spend more time and arrange more like in-person meetups and meetings with local community and members, and we want to like again we think the future of like a agentic internet is really coming, blockchain technology, and we think this is a very global trend that everybody should be part of that. And that's why we really want to also like having the opportunity to engage the Korean communities and potential participants in the process. So please stop by if you have chance into some of our events at KPW, or like come to meet us in person within those meetups after, and also join our Korean dedicated Telegram group, which we will have always like those up-to-date progress and events, announcement, and everything posted there. And our Korean specific campaign is going to happen soon as well. So stay tuned. And come to us if you have any questions about any questions about like how the future like AI look like, how the blockchain and the intersection of blockchain and AI, blockchain and stablecoin for like payments and all this stuff. I think that's a great it's a great time right now. So